Hi there, my name is Miss Williams, and today I'm going to be explaining and demonstrating a Sdaie strategy called Anticipation Reaction Guide. So in this strategy, it can be used for grades 2 through 12. It should take about 10 minutes before a lesson, and then there will be about 10 minutes of discussion time afterwards. This works best in small groups as well as a whole class discussion, whichever method you choose. And materials will differ depending on the content you're talking about, the purposes for your lesson, and of course which age group you are working with. Basically, this strategy starts off by using a certain reading material. For this demonstration, I'm going to be talking about A Single Shard by Linda Sue Park. We are in a 3rd grade classroom, and we have just finished reading the first 2 chapters. The students are aware of the main characters and the general plot line. What's going to happen is that there will be a time before we continue reading where the students make an anticipation and reaction chart. There will be about 4 sentences or comments that the students are able to respond to. They can either disagree with the statement or agree with the statement. They'll mark it on their paper, and then they'll have time to discuss with one another about the answer that they chose. We will read the selection in the story, and then the students will be able to write their reaction response to the reading. So they'll be able to compare and contrast their thoughts before the reading, and they'll be able to agree and disagree with the statements. This also is super helpful in getting the students to be able to start practicing making predictions about the text and discussing what they think will happen. So here we go. All right, boys and girls, we are going to get started with our reading material today. So if everybody could please bring out your book, A Single Shard, that we've been working on. We are going to do a little fun activity right now to go over what we've read. We've gone over the first 2 chapters of this book, so we know kind of the main idea, we know some of the characters, and what we're going to do right now is try to figure out if we can make predictions about what's going to happen next in this text. So it's going to be really exciting. I have passed out to you guys a worksheet that looks a lot like this. It's called an Anticipation Reaction Guide. So we actually get to make anticipations about what we're reading. Down here you can see there's a few phrases, and what I'm going to have you guys do right now is go ahead and on your own read these sentences to yourself. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see an anticipation column. There, I'm going to have you write either an A or a D. A represents agree, if you agree with this statement, based off of what you know from the text that we've read so far, or D, which means you disagree with this statement. Over here where it says reaction, I want you to leave that side blank for now because we're going to get there after we read some more in a few minutes. So go ahead and take some time, read these to yourself, and then go ahead and write an A or a D next to each line, next to each phrase, depending on whether you agree or disagree. And then we'll come back together in a few minutes. All right, boys and girls, we're going to come back together now and go over our answers. So, number 1, we're going to look right here. It says, tree ear is the main character in our reading selection. So you have either put an A here or a B, depending on whether you agree or disagree with this statement. Number 2 says, Crane Man is not a good father figure to Tree Ear, and he does not teach him good moral lessons as his guardian. And number 3 says, Men should look at Tree Ear like he is his own son and pass down the clay business and teach him the trade. So you're going to either put an A or a D here. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my answers, and then we're going to take some time to share with one another what we wrote and why we chose that answer. I'm going to write that I agree with this statement. I'm going to disagree with this statement. And agree with this statement, but I don't know what's going to happen in this story. So we will have to find out. So now we're going to go around and share our answers in your table groups, and we'll see what we wrote. Alright, so once you are done filling out those answers with either an agree or a disagree, I want you guys to take the next 2 minutes, talk amongst your table groups, and discuss whether you agreed or disagreed with these statements, and then I want you to give a reason why. Based off of what we've read, why did you choose your answer? Now, boys and girls, we are going to take the next few minutes to go ahead and make predictions about the text. So after you guys discuss your answers, I want you guys to talk about what do you think is going to happen next. Why did you agree or disagree with these statements? And what do you think this means for the story overall? What is going to happen maybe in chapter 3, as we're going to see right now, okay? So talk amongst yourselves. I want you guys to come up with a few predictions, and then I'm going to call on you guys by table groups, and we're going to have a time of sharing, okay? So take the next few minutes to discuss what you think, what you predict is going to happen in this text. Now we are going to move into our time of reading. So if everybody could please turn to page 31, we are going to begin on chapter 3. So I'm going to start by reading the first page, and then we'll go around and do some popcorn reading and see what happens next. Clay today, not wood. Those were men's orders for the 10th day. Once again, Tree Ear trundled around the cart, this time along the river road. Now looking at our text, you can see that after we've been over our reading selection for chapter 3, these different statements might have different answers over here in the reaction column. So we're going to take the next couple minutes to go over our questions one more time. So we're going to reread them, and you might have a different reaction depending on what you thought of the text we just read. As you can see, my answers have changed after we went over the reading. Over here I said I agreed with the statement that it says, men should look at Tree Ear as his own son. At first I said I agree with that. After reading chapter 3 and learning more about these characters, I now put a D over here, and I disagree with that statement. And I have different examples and evidence of why I changed my answer. So after you guys have marked your answers here, they're either going to be the same or they're going to be different, and we are going to now discuss them as a class. So that sums up my Sdaie strategy of the Anticipation Reaction Guide. I chose this strategy because it's super easy. You can do it with small groups or the whole class. It can work for relatively any subject or any grade level, as long as you take the time to prepare the guide sheet with different responses. The students can react to them. It's a really good prompt for discussion. It also allows the students to give their own opinion and share that with each other, be able to back up their claim with evidence, and it also is super helpful for practice for the students to be able to make predictions in a text and really start engaging in the text, looking for clues and looking for evidence to support their opinions. And this is also really good for beginning speakers of English because you can use a smartboard, write it on the whiteboard. It's nice to see a visual, to have a chart. You can also use pictures for younger grades or English language learners. You can use simple illustrations as another tool to make this fun and interactive and a good simple tool to help the readers get more involved in your text. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you use this strategy.